Have you ever felt trapped in a cycle of stress, pain, or emotional turmoil, wondering how to break free? Do you find yourself seeking peace but unsure where to start, or how to heal naturally? What if the answers were within you all along, waiting to be discovered through simple yet powerful practices? The truth is, healing doesn't have to come from external sources. It can begin from within, using the wisdom of ancient teachings like Buddhism. Imagine for a moment, you're walking down a quiet path in nature, feeling the gentle breeze on your skin, and suddenly, a sense of calm washes over you. Your mind, usually racing with thoughts and worries, starts to slow down. It feels like you're reconnecting with something deep inside you, something that's been there all along but hidden beneath the noise of everyday life. This is the beginning of natural healing. It's simple, it's accessible, and it's incredibly powerful. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, a space where we explore ancient wisdom to guide us toward better health, happiness, and peace. Here, we dive into the profound teachings of Buddhism, using them as a tool to heal ourselves naturally. If you're ready to take that first step towards a more peaceful and balanced life, you've come to the right place. Before we dive deeper, I'd like to take a moment to encourage you. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of you have subscribed. If you enjoy content like this and want more transformative insights, please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot, and it helps us continue to create content that can make a real difference in your life. Now, let's explore how natural healing can truly begin with simple changes that have been practiced for centuries. Today, we'll discover how Buddhism can guide us to live a more peaceful, balanced, and naturally healed life. Stay with us, because the journey to healing starts right now. Understanding suffering, the core of healing. To begin the journey of healing, we must first understand something very important: suffering. It might seem strange, even uncomfortable, to think about suffering as part of the path to healing. But in Buddhist teachings, suffering is not something to be avoided or ignored. Instead, it is a fundamental truth about life that, once understood, can lead us to deeper healing and peace. The Buddha himself, the great teacher who discovered the path to freedom from suffering, said, "Life is suffering." This doesn't mean life is only about pain and hardship, but it acknowledges that suffering is an inevitable part of existence. Whether it is physical pain, emotional hurt, or the pain of loss, we all experience suffering in one form or another. Understanding suffering is the first step toward freedom from it. Buddhism teaches that suffering is caused by three primary things: attachment, aversion, and ignorance. These are the root causes of the suffering we experience in our daily lives. Let's break them down. Attachment is the desire to hold on to things, whether they are people, experiences, or material possessions. We naturally want to keep what we love close to us. However, life is constantly changing, and nothing lasts forever. When we hold too tightly to things, we set ourselves up for suffering. If we lose what we love, or if things change in a way we didn't expect, we experience pain. Aversion is the opposite of attachment. It's the tendency to push away or resist things we don't like, or things that cause us discomfort. We avoid unpleasant situations, negative emotions, and painful experiences. But in trying to avoid these things, we only create more suffering. In fact, the more we resist something, the more it affects us. Our aversion can create a deep sense of frustration, anger, or even fear. Ignorance is perhaps the most subtle, but most powerful cause of suffering. It's the lack of understanding about the true nature of life. We often see the world as we want it to be, not as it truly is. We believe that everything should remain the same, that we should always be happy, and that we should never experience pain. This misunderstanding leads us to create unrealistic expectations for ourselves and others, setting ourselves up for disappointment when things don't go as planned. Now, you might be asking yourself, why should I focus on suffering? Why can't I just avoid it and focus on the good parts of life? The reason is simple. The more we try to avoid suffering, the more it controls us. When we confront suffering with understanding, we break free from its hold on us. And this is where the healing begins. In Buddhism, the path to healing is not about avoiding suffering but understanding it, embracing it, and learning from it. It's about seeing suffering as a natural part of life, one that can teach us important lessons if we are willing to listen. Once we understand why we suffer, we can begin to heal. There's a powerful concept in Buddhism called the Four Noble Truths, which is the foundation of the Buddhist teachings. The first truth is that suffering exists. The second is that suffering is caused by attachment, aversion, and ignorance. The third truth is that suffering can be overcome. And the fourth truth is that there is a path, the Eightfold Path, that leads to the end of suffering. Let's take a moment to reflect on the second noble truth, that suffering is caused by attachment, aversion, and ignorance. These are not just abstract concepts. They are real forces that shape our lives every day. Think about the last time you felt unhappy or stressed. What was the cause? Were you attached to something you couldn't have? Were you avoiding something you didn't want to face? Were you caught in a misunderstanding of how things were supposed to be? The good news is that we don't have to remain stuck in this cycle of suffering. Buddhism teaches us that we can transform our relationship with suffering. By understanding it deeply, we can begin to let go of attachments, reduce our aversions, and gain a clearer understanding of reality. This process may take time, but the moment we begin to shift our perspective, healing starts to happen. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming suffering is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment or resistance. When we are mindful, we observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without becoming attached to them or pushing them away. We simply let them be, knowing that everything is temporary and that nothing lasts forever. This practice helps us break free from the grip of attachment and aversion. Another important tool is compassion, both for ourselves and others. Compassion is the ability to feel empathy for the suffering of others and to wish for their well-being. But it's also about being gentle with ourselves when we are struggling. We often criticize ourselves harshly when we experience suffering, thinking that we should be stronger or better. But Buddhism teaches us that self-compassion is key to healing. When we are kind and understanding with ourselves, we can heal more quickly and deeply. So, how does this understanding of suffering lead to healing? When we stop running away from pain and instead face it with mindfulness and compassion, we begin to transform our relationship with it. We start to see suffering not as something to be feared or avoided, but as an opportunity for growth. It is through the challenges of life that we learn the most about ourselves. By embracing suffering with an open heart, we can learn the lessons it brings and use them to heal. This doesn't mean that suffering will disappear entirely. Life is full of ups and downs, joys and pains. But by understanding the true nature of suffering, we no longer have to be its victim. Instead, we can transform it into a powerful force for change and growth. Healing doesn't happen by avoiding life's difficulties. It happens by meeting them with awareness and compassion. In the end, understanding suffering is not a burden. It's a gift. It's the key to freeing ourselves from unnecessary pain and finding peace within. As the Buddha said, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. When we walk the path of understanding suffering, we find that healing naturally follows. Next time you find yourself struggling with something difficult in your life, remember that suffering is not the enemy. It is the teacher. And as you begin to understand it, you will find that healing is already underway. Mindfulness and meditation, the healing power of the present moment. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, isn't it? We're constantly moving from one task to the next, our minds racing with thoughts about the past or future. Have you ever stopped to just be in the present moment? To truly experience life as it is, without worrying about what's next? This is where mindfulness and meditation come in, two of the most powerful tools for healing in the Buddhist tradition. Mindfulness is simply the practice of paying attention to the present moment, without judgment. It's about noticing the small details in your surroundings, the sensations in your body, and the thoughts in your mind, without getting lost in them. Imagine you're sitting quietly, breathing deeply, and as you exhale, you focus on the sensation of air leaving your lungs. You're not thinking about anything else, just the breath. This simple act of paying attention can help you to feel calm and grounded, even in the middle of chaos. In Buddhism, mindfulness is one of the central teachings. It's said that by practicing mindfulness, we can begin to break free from our habitual patterns of thinking and reacting. Most of us go through life on autopilot, reacting to situations without really thinking. We get upset, anxious, or angry, but often, it's because we're not fully aware of what's happening inside us. Mindfulness helps us step back, observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, and choose how to respond rather than reacting out of habit. Meditation is the natural extension of mindfulness. It's the practice of sitting quietly and focusing the mind. Meditation isn't about stopping your thoughts or clearing your mind completely, because that's impossible. It's about creating space between you and your thoughts, so that you can see them clearly. When we meditate, we're training our minds to focus, to be still, and to find peace in the present moment. One of the most common types of meditation in Buddhism is Vipassana meditation, which means insight meditation. This form of meditation helps you develop a deep understanding of how your mind works and how to see things as they truly are. As you sit in stillness, you start to notice the rise and fall of your breath, the sensations in your body, the thoughts that come and go. You begin to see how your thoughts are not who you are. They are just passing waves in the ocean of your consciousness. By observing them without getting caught up in them, you learn to detach from the chaos of your mind. But meditation isn't just about sitting still. It's about how you live your life. Once you learn to be mindful during meditation, you can start to bring that mindfulness into every moment of your day. When you eat, you pay attention to the taste and texture of your food. When you walk, you notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground. When you talk to someone, you listen fully, without distractions. This way of living, with full attention on each moment, is known as right mindfulness, and it's part of the Buddhist path to healing. In Buddhism, healing is not just about physical health. It's about healing the mind and spirit as well. Mindfulness and meditation help us heal by allowing us to step away from our busy minds and reconnect with ourselves. When we're caught in worry or anxiety, it's because we're not fully in the present moment. We're either thinking about something that happened in the past or something that might happen in the future. But the truth is, the past is gone, and the future hasn't arrived yet. The only moment we can truly control is the present. Imagine how much lighter your life would feel if you could let go of worries about what's coming next or regrets about what's already passed. Mindfulness allows us to do just that. It's a tool that helps us stop running on autopilot and start living with intention. It helps us heal from stress, anxiety, and emotional turmoil by bringing our focus back to the now. And in the process, we begin to see the world with new eyes. Eyes that are clear, calm, and free from the distractions of the past and future. Now, this doesn't mean that everything will always be easy or that pain and challenges will disappear. Life, as we know, is full of ups and downs. But mindfulness teaches us that we can approach life's difficulties with calmness and clarity. When we face challenges, instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, take a deep breath, and choose how to respond. This ability to pause and choose is one of the greatest gifts mindfulness offers. It gives us control over how we experience life, no matter what comes our way. In Buddhist teachings, it's said that suffering arises when we resist the present moment. We want things to be different, we want things to be better, and when they aren't, we feel frustrated. But mindfulness teaches us to accept things as they are, without trying to change them or run away from them. This doesn't mean we give up trying to improve our lives. It simply means we stop fighting reality. When we accept things as they are, we stop adding unnecessary suffering to our experience. This acceptance doesn't come from passivity. It comes from a place of inner strength and wisdom. Through mindfulness and meditation, we start to heal because we begin to see things as they are, not as we wish they would be. We stop holding on to anger, resentment, or fear, because we realize that these emotions are just temporary. We start to realize that, in every moment, we have the power to choose peace over stress, calm over chaos, and joy over fear. This is the healing power of mindfulness. As you practice mindfulness and meditation, remember that healing is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but with patience and consistency, you'll begin to notice changes. You'll find yourself reacting less and observing more. You'll feel more present and less caught up in your thoughts. And over time, this sense of peace and calm will begin to heal the wounds in your heart and mind. It's not about fixing yourself. It's about reconnecting with the natural peace and wisdom that is already within you. Healing through mindfulness and meditation is one of the most profound gifts we can give ourselves. It's a practice that, when nurtured, will transform not only our minds but also our bodies and spirits. It's a way of life that helps us to live with intention, peace, and clarity, no matter what challenges we may face. So, take a moment now. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and simply be present. In this moment, you are already healing. You don't need to do anything more. Just breathe and be. This is the first step on your journey to healing, being present with yourself, right here, right now. And from this place of presence, everything else will follow. The role of compassion in self-healing. In the practice of Buddhism, compassion is not just a virtue. It's the very foundation of healing. It's a quality that transcends simple kindness. It's a deep, heartfelt understanding and care for the suffering of others, and importantly, for ourselves. We often hear the phrase, "You can't pour from an empty cup," but how often do we forget that the cup must first be filled with compassion? When we talk about compassion in the context of healing, it goes beyond helping others. It starts with you. To heal naturally, we need to first heal the way we treat ourselves. For many of us, the inner voice is harsh, judgmental, and relentless. We criticize ourselves for our mistakes, our shortcomings, and our perceived failures. But what if we approached ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a loved one who is suffering? Wouldn't that be the first step in healing? Buddhism teaches that suffering is a universal experience, and compassion is the antidote. The Buddha himself exemplified compassion through his actions and teachings. He understood that suffering is a natural part of life, but through compassion, we can alleviate not only the pain of others, but also our own. In the path to healing, compassion isn't just about feeling sorry for someone. It's about actively seeking to relieve that suffering. This includes our own. Take a moment and think about your own life. How many times have you been your harshest critic? How often do you push yourself beyond your limits, expecting perfection in everything you do? It's important to understand that healing is not about perfection. It's about acceptance. Compassion teaches us to accept ourselves as we are, flaws and all. Only through this acceptance can we begin to heal. When you forgive yourself, when you show kindness to yourself, when you recognize that you are worthy of love and care, you begin the journey of self-healing. One powerful Buddhist practice that can help foster compassion is metta, or loving-kindness meditation. This meditation involves focusing on cultivating feelings of love, kindness, and goodwill, first towards ourselves and then extending it to others. It starts with a simple phrase, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." When you say this to yourself, you're nurturing your own well-being, acknowledging that you deserve peace and happiness. But it doesn't stop there. You gradually extend these thoughts to others, your family, friends, acquaintances, and even people you might not like. The more you practice metta, the more you realize that compassion is not just an action, but a state of mind, one that can be cultivated and expanded, bringing healing to yourself and others. Compassion, however, is not always easy. It requires us to soften our hearts, to let go of judgments, and to embrace vulnerability. It's easy to love and care for others, but it's much more difficult to offer that same love to ourselves. The Buddha recognized that self-compassion is essential for true healing, and in his teachings, he emphasized that without it, we cannot fully extend compassion to others. Let's take a look at how we can begin to cultivate compassion in our daily lives. The first step is to be aware of the negative self-talk we often engage in. Many of us don't realize how critical we are of ourselves. We may tell ourselves things like, "I'm not good enough," "I'll never succeed," or "I'm not worthy of love." These thoughts can be deeply ingrained, and they have the power to shape our reality. But the good news is, we can change them. Just as we would never say such things to a friend who is struggling, we must learn to stop saying them to ourselves. Begin by noticing these thoughts when they arise. Instead of ignoring them or pushing them away, acknowledge them with compassion. Gently say to yourself, "I understand that you're struggling right now, but you are worthy of love and kindness, just as you are." These small changes in how we speak to ourselves can have a profound impact on our emotional and physical well-being. Another way to cultivate compassion is through simple acts of kindness. Start small. Maybe it's holding the door open for someone, offering a smile, or listening to a friend who needs support. These acts of kindness not only make the world a better place, but they also nourish your own soul. When you act with compassion towards others, you start to realize that we are all interconnected. Our healing is intertwined with the healing of others. In Buddhism, the concept of interconnectedness is central. The Buddha taught that all beings are connected through the web of life, and by cultivating compassion for others, we indirectly heal ourselves. When we show kindness to others, we are reminding ourselves of our shared humanity, and we create an environment of healing for everyone involved. This sense of connection is deeply healing. It helps us understand that we are not isolated in our suffering. When we help others, we heal alongside them. Compassion also involves letting go of grudges and resentments. Holding on to anger, hatred, or unforgiveness can have a negative impact on our mental and physical health. It's like carrying a heavy burden, one that keeps us weighed down and prevents us from moving forward. By choosing to forgive, not only are we offering compassion to others, but we are also releasing ourselves from the chains of bitterness. Forgiveness isn't about condoning someone else's actions. It's about freeing ourselves from the emotional pain that comes with holding on to hurt. It's a gift you give yourself. As we continue to cultivate compassion in our lives, we begin to notice subtle shifts. Our minds become calmer, our hearts softer, and our bodies more relaxed. We experience less stress and anxiety because we are no longer fighting against ourselves. Compassion teaches us to accept the flow of life, both the good and the bad, and to embrace it all with an open heart. When we practice compassion, we not only heal ourselves but also create a ripple effect that spreads to everyone we meet. The practice of compassion is an ongoing journey. It's not something we can perfect overnight, but with patience, mindfulness, and dedication, we can cultivate a compassionate heart that brings healing to ourselves and the world around us. Remember, healing is not about fixing what's broken. It's about embracing ourselves fully, imperfections and all. Compassion is the key to this acceptance, and with it, we unlock the door to true healing. As you continue your journey of self-healing, take a moment each day to practice compassion. Whether it's through meditation, acts of kindness, or simply speaking kindly to yourself, know that each step you take brings you closer to inner peace and healing. Compassion is the medicine that nourishes our souls, and when we make it a part of our daily lives, it transforms not only our own well-being but the world we live in. In the end, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Healing begins with compassion, and when we extend that compassion to others, we create a world that is kinder, more loving, and more connected. So, let compassion be your guide. Let it lead you on a path of healing, peace, and transformation. Through compassion, we can all heal together. Overcoming negative emotions through Buddhist practices. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by negative emotions. Anger, frustration, fear, and sadness. These feelings can sometimes take over, making us feel as if we're losing control. But what if you could find a way to manage these emotions instead of letting them control you? Buddhism teaches us that we can overcome negative emotions, not by suppressing them, but by understanding them, transforming them, and ultimately freeing ourselves from their grip. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is that all emotions are temporary. They arise, they stay for a while, and then they pass. Think about a storm. When it hits, it can seem intense, as if it will never end. But eventually, the clouds clear, the winds settle, and calm returns. Our emotions are just like that storm. They come and go. When we recognize this, we can begin to see that we don't have to be defined by our emotions. We can choose to respond to them, rather than react to them impulsively. To help us understand and transform these emotions, Buddhism offers us tools and practices that are incredibly powerful. One such practice is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment, without judgment. When a negative emotion arises, instead of reacting right away, we can pause and observe it. We can ask ourselves, what am I feeling right now? Why do I feel this way? Is this emotion helping me, or is it taking away my peace? By simply acknowledging the emotion and observing it without judgment, we begin to distance ourselves from it. We realize that we are not our emotions. We are the observer of them. This shift in perspective is the first step towards transforming negative emotions. Instead of letting them control us, we learn to control our reactions to them. Another essential practice in Buddhism for overcoming negative emotions is compassion, both for others and for ourselves. When we're angry, upset, or afraid, it's easy to be hard on ourselves. We may judge ourselves for feeling a certain way, or feel guilty for not being able to control our emotions. But Buddhism teaches us to practice self-compassion. This means treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a loved one who is suffering. Self-compassion allows us to acknowledge our feelings without judgment and to treat ourselves with patience and kindness. This doesn't mean we ignore or suppress our emotions. It means we accept them, knowing that they are part of being human and that we can work through them with love and understanding. When we treat ourselves with compassion, we begin to heal from the inside out. In addition to mindfulness and compassion, Buddhism offers a powerful practice called metta, or loving-kindness meditation. This practice involves sending love and goodwill to ourselves and to others. It's a simple but profound way to shift our focus from negative emotions to positive, healing thoughts. In metta meditation, we begin by wishing ourselves well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I live with ease. Then, we expand that wish to others. May my family be happy. May my friends be happy. May all beings be happy. Through this practice, we train our minds to focus on love and kindness, rather than anger, fear, or frustration. It's like watering a plant with love. It helps us grow in positive directions. Over time, as we consistently practice metta, we begin to notice a shift in our emotions. We become more compassionate, more patient, and more understanding, not only with ourselves but also with others. Buddhism also teaches us about the importance of letting go of attachments. Negative emotions often arise because we become attached to certain ideas, people, or outcomes. We want things to go a certain way, and when they don't, we feel disappointed, frustrated, or angry. But when we learn to let go of these attachments, we free ourselves from the suffering that comes with unmet expectations. Letting go doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop clinging to a particular outcome. We learn to accept life as it comes, with all its ups and downs, knowing that everything is impermanent. When we let go, we can embrace the present moment fully, without the weight of past disappointments or future worries. Another important aspect of overcoming negative emotions in Buddhism is the practice of right speech. In the Eightfold Path, right speech refers to speaking truthfully, kindly, and mindfully. Our words have a powerful impact on our emotions and the emotions of others. When we speak in anger or frustration, it only intensifies those feelings. But when we speak with kindness and mindfulness, we create an environment where peace can flourish. By practicing right speech, we can prevent negative emotions from spiraling out of control. We can express ourselves clearly and calmly without letting our emotions dictate our words. This helps us to stay in control of our reactions and to communicate with others in a way that fosters understanding and connection. Meditation is another powerful tool in Buddhism for overcoming negative emotions. When we sit in meditation, we create a space where we can observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. Meditation allows us to cultivate inner peace, which is essential for transforming negative emotions. By sitting quietly and focusing on our breath, we can calm the mind and create a sense of spaciousness within ourselves. This spaciousness gives us the freedom to respond to our emotions, rather than react impulsively. Over time, as we practice mindfulness, compassion, metta, letting go, right speech, and meditation, we begin to develop a sense of inner peace that no longer depends on external circumstances. We become more resilient, able to face life's challenges with a calm and clear mind. Negative emotions will still arise, but instead of being overwhelmed by them, we learn to navigate through them with wisdom and grace. In Buddhism, there is a beautiful concept called non-attachment. This doesn't mean that we don't care about anything. It means that we don't allow our happiness to depend on anything outside of ourselves. When we practice non-attachment, we stop clinging to our emotions or circumstances. We learn to experience life as it is, without trying to control or resist it. This freedom from attachment helps us to stay calm and balanced, even when faced with difficult emotions. Ultimately, overcoming negative emotions is not about trying to avoid or suppress them. It's about understanding them, transforming them, and learning to live with them in a way that promotes peace and healing. By applying the teachings of Buddhism, we can free ourselves from the grip of negative emotions and cultivate a life of greater balance, peace, and happiness. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, remember that they are not permanent. Like a storm, they will pass. With the right practices and mindset, you can transform your emotions, and in doing so, transform your life. The Eightfold Path, a blueprint for inner healing. The Eightfold Path, a central teaching in Buddhism, holds the key to a life of balance, peace, and, ultimately, healing. It's often referred to as a blueprint because it provides us with a step-by-step guide to living a life that is not just healthy for the body, but deeply healing for the mind and spirit as well. When we follow the Eightfold Path, we begin to align ourselves with a way of life that is rooted in wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. By incorporating these principles into our daily lives, we can heal ourselves naturally and find lasting peace. So, what is the Eightfold Path? It consists of 8 interconnected practices or principles that guide us toward a life of moral integrity, mental clarity, and emotional peace. These principles are often divided into 3 main categories: wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Let's look at each one closely. 1. Right understanding, or right view. The journey to healing begins with understanding the true nature of our life. It's about seeing the world clearly and understanding the 4 noble truths. The first truth teaches us that suffering is a part of life. The second explains that suffering arises from craving or attachment. The third shows us that there is an end to suffering. And the fourth reveals the path that leads to the end of suffering. Right understanding is the foundation that helps us approach challenges in life with clarity and insight. When we see things as they truly are, we no longer react with fear, anger, or frustration. Instead, we approach life with wisdom and acceptance, which is the first step in natural healing. 2. Right intentions. Once we have the right understanding, we must align our intentions with the path of healing. This means cultivating intentions that are free from greed, hatred, and delusion. Instead, we focus on compassion, kindness, and goodwill. Our intentions shape our actions, and when we act with pure intentions, we create a healing environment within ourselves. Right intention also means directing our thoughts and actions toward freedom from suffering, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. It's about creating a space where healing can happen, not just through physical means, but through a transformation of our inner world. 3. Right speech. Words have immense power. They can either heal or hurt, build or destroy. Right speech is about speaking truthfully, kindly, and wisely. It's about avoiding gossip, lies, harsh words, and divisive speech. When we practice right speech, we foster a peaceful environment for ourselves and others. Healing can begin when we learn to speak with compassion and mindfulness. Every word we say carries energy, and that energy can either uplift or bring negativity into our lives. By using our words wisely, we create harmony and understanding, both in our relationships and within ourselves. 4. Right action. The healing journey is also about how we act in the world. Right action is about living with integrity, making choices that align with our values, and taking actions that promote the well-being of others. This principle encourages us to act with kindness and compassion, to refrain from harming others, and to live with ethical responsibility. Our actions should reflect our understanding of interconnectedness, the knowledge that all beings are connected, and our actions impact the world around us. Through right action, we can bring healing to the world while also healing ourselves. 5. Right livelihood. Right livelihood is about how we earn our living. It's about engaging in work that is honest, ethical, and does not cause harm to others. When we choose a livelihood that aligns with our values and respects the well-being of others, we create an environment where healing can thrive. Working in a way that is mindful and aligned with our principles brings peace to our hearts and minds. Whether we are a teacher, a doctor, a farmer, or an artist, our work should be a reflection of our commitment to healing, both for ourselves and for the world. 6. Right effort. Right effort is about cultivating positive qualities in our lives and letting go of negative habits. It requires consistent effort to keep our minds free from unwholesome thoughts like anger, greed, and jealousy. It's about developing a mind that is peaceful, clear, and focused on the present moment. This is where mindfulness plays a critical role. By practicing right effort, we train ourselves to stay on the path of healing, no matter the challenges we face. It's not about forcing change, but about gently guiding ourselves back to peace every time we stray. 7. Right mindfulness. Mindfulness is at the heart of Buddhist practice, and it is also the key to self-healing. Right mindfulness involves being fully present in every moment. Whether we're eating, walking, or sitting in meditation, it's about observing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment or attachment. By being mindful, we can identify the root causes of our suffering and begin to heal them. Mindfulness allows us to see the patterns in our minds and bodies that contribute to illness, stress, and pain, and gives us the ability to shift those patterns. It's through mindfulness that we become aware of the present moment, where healing happens. 8. Right concentration. The final principle of the Eightfold Path is right concentration, which is about developing a deep, focused mind through meditation. Right concentration helps us cultivate a mind that is calm, clear, and undistracted. When we can concentrate deeply, we are able to let go of the distractions and worries that cloud our mind and prevent healing. Meditation allows us to tap into a space of stillness and peace, where the body can relax, the mind can calm, and healing can naturally take place. Through concentration, we train our minds to focus on the present moment, which is where true healing happens. When we practice the Eightfold Path, we begin to heal on every level, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's not about quick fixes or immediate results. It's about steady progress, day by day. Each step builds upon the other, and as we continue to walk this path, we find that healing becomes not just a possibility, but a reality. The beauty of the Eightfold Path is that it is not just for monks or spiritual seekers. It's for everyone, in every walk of life. Whether you are dealing with physical pain, emotional struggles, or spiritual confusion, the Eightfold Path offers a simple yet profound guide to help you heal. It's a path of wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, qualities that we all can cultivate, no matter where we are in life. By applying these teachings in our daily lives, we begin to shift our perspective, our actions, and our relationships in ways that support natural healing. And as we heal ourselves, we also contribute to the healing of the world around us. Through the Eightfold Path, we discover that true healing is not just an individual pursuit, but a collective journey, one that can transform not only our lives, but also the lives of others. Healing through nature, lessons from Buddhist philosophy. In our fast-paced, modern world, it's easy to forget the simple, profound healing power of nature. The constant buzz of technology, the stress of daily responsibilities, and the noise of our own minds can pull us away from the very thing that holds the key to our well-being, nature itself. But when we look closely, Buddhism teaches us that nature is not just a backdrop for our lives. It is an integral part of our healing process, offering us lessons, peace, and restoration. Buddhism teaches us to live in harmony with the world around us. Nature, in all its beauty and tranquility, is a reflection of the peace we seek within. The trees, the mountains, the rivers, and even the wind all serve as reminders of the impermanence of life and the interconnectedness of all things. When we tune into nature, we're reminded that everything in this world is constantly changing. This understanding can help us release attachments, calm our minds, and find a sense of peace in the midst of chaos. One of the most beautiful aspects of nature is its ability to help us return to the present moment. When we're immersed in nature, whether we're walking through a forest, sitting by a stream, or simply gazing at the stars, we are reminded to let go of worries about the past or future. In Buddhism, this practice of being fully present is called mindfulness. It's the art of focusing on what's in front of us right now, without judgment or distraction. Nature is the perfect environment for cultivating mindfulness. The sound of birds chirping, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the warmth of the sun on your face. These simple experiences ground us in the present and allow our minds to settle. When we engage with nature in this mindful way, something remarkable happens. We begin to heal. Nature has a unique way of restoring balance to our bodies, minds, and spirits. It's as if the earth itself offers us an unspoken remedy, soothing our stress, calming our anxiety, and helping us reconnect with our true selves. Scientific studies have even shown that spending time in nature can lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones, and improve mood. But beyond these physical benefits, nature also nourishes us on a deeper level. It's a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things, and it teaches us to live with more compassion, patience, and understanding. Buddhism encourages us to observe nature without interference. In its simplest form, this means being aware of the rhythms of life, the rising and setting of the sun, the changing of the seasons, the cycles of life and death. These natural processes are a reflection of our own experiences. Just as flowers bloom and fade, so too do our joys and challenges. Just as the seasons change, so too do our emotions and states of mind. Nature teaches us that change is inevitable, and that rather than resisting it, we should learn to flow with it. There's a beautiful Buddhist teaching called interdependence, which tells us that all things are interconnected. Just as a tree relies on the soil, sunlight, and water to grow, we, too, rely on the world around us to thrive. When we embrace the interconnectedness of life, we begin to understand that we are not separate from nature. We are part of it. This understanding can help us let go of the illusion of control and surrender to the natural flow of life. It's only when we do this that we can truly experience healing. A key element of healing through nature is learning to let go of what no longer serves us. Just as a tree sheds its leaves in the fall, we too must release the things that weigh us down. In Buddhism, this is known as non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean we stop caring or stop forming connections. It means that we don't cling to things, whether they're material possessions, relationships, or even our own ideas and beliefs. Nature teaches us this lesson every day. The leaves fall from the trees without resistance, knowing that in time, new leaves will grow. Similarly, we must learn to let go of attachments that keep us from moving forward and healing. Nature also teaches us patience. Think about a seed planted in the ground. It doesn't sprout overnight. It takes time, care, and the right conditions for it to grow. In the same way, our healing process takes time. We cannot rush the natural rhythms of life. Healing is a journey, not a destination. When we learn to be patient with ourselves and with the world around us, we begin to find peace in the process itself, rather than focusing only on the outcome. In Buddhism, there's a concept known as the middle way, which teaches us to avoid extremes and find balance in all things. Nature embodies this balance perfectly. The earth is neither too hot nor too cold. The ocean is neither too calm nor too rough, and the cycles of the seasons are neither too fast nor too slow. Everything is in perfect harmony. When we align ourselves with this natural balance, we can find peace within ourselves. This balance is not just about avoiding extremes. It's about embracing the ebb and flow of life. We can find healing in every moment, no matter how simple or complex it may seem. Healing through nature also involves paying attention to the small, everyday miracles around us. It's easy to overlook the beauty of a single flower or the song of a bird, but when we take a moment to notice these small wonders, we open ourselves up to a greater sense of awe and gratitude. Buddhism teaches us to appreciate the small things, to see beauty in the mundane, and to find joy in the present moment. These small acts of mindfulness can have a profound impact on our mental and emotional health. Another important lesson from nature is the idea of resilience. Nature, in its raw beauty, is constantly evolving and adapting. Trees withstand storms, animals survive harsh winters, and rivers carve paths through mountains. Nature shows us that, just like it, we too have the ability to bounce back from adversity. Life will throw challenges our way, but if we stay rooted in our true nature, we can weather any storm. Nature teaches us to be strong, flexible, and resilient in the face of difficulty. Finally, nature reminds us to honor the cycles of life. Just as the moon waxes and wanes, our lives go through phases of growth, rest, and renewal. There are times when we feel energized and full of life, and other times when we need rest and reflection. Both are necessary for our healing and growth. Buddhism teaches us to embrace all aspects of life, the joyful and the painful, the vibrant and the quiet. and to understand that each phase has its purpose. Only through acceptance of life's natural cycles can we truly heal. In conclusion, nature offers us a powerful path to healing. Through mindfulness, non-attachment, patience, and resilience, we can reconnect with the natural world and, in doing so, find healing for our bodies, minds, and spirits. By learning from the wisdom that nature provides, we can begin to live in harmony with the world around us, and in turn, heal ourselves in a way that is deeply connected to the earth and all that it holds. Let us remember that we are never separate from nature. We are part of it. And when we embrace this truth, we find the peace and healing that we've been seeking all along. The power of gratitude and letting go. Gratitude and letting go. Two simple words, yet so powerful. They hold the key to inner peace, healing, and a life free from unnecessary suffering. But how do we cultivate these practices? Then what does it truly mean to let go? In Buddhism, the idea of gratitude goes hand in hand with the concept of detachment. To understand how these two principles can heal us, we must first look at the nature of our minds and the ways in which we hold on to things, people, emotions, experiences, and even pain. In our daily lives, we often carry heavy burdens, even when we don't realize it. These burdens come from our attachments to outcomes, to possessions, to expectations. We expect things to be a certain way, and when they are not, we feel disappointed, frustrated, or sad. These feelings are natural, but when we hold on to them for too long, they begin to shape our experience of the world. We become trapped in a cycle of expectation and disappointment, never fully at peace because we are always clinging to something that is out of our control. But here's where the practice of gratitude comes in. Gratitude is not just about being thankful for the good things in life. It is about being aware of the present moment, seeing the value in everything we have, and even finding lessons in the challenges we face. When we practice gratitude, we shift our perspective. Instead of focusing on what we don't have or what we've lost, we start to see the abundance of blessings already present in our lives. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises from attachment. When we hold tightly to our desires, our expectations, or even our anger, we create suffering for ourselves. The more tightly we grip something, the more it hurts to let go. Imagine holding a rock in your hand for a long time. At first, it might feel manageable, but over time, the weight of it becomes unbearable. The same is true for our attachments. The longer we hold on to things, whether it's past hurt, regret, or even the need for control, the more they weigh us down. The practice of letting go is not about abandoning everything or becoming detached from life itself. It's about releasing the mental and emotional weight that no longer serves us. It's about freeing ourselves from the burden of trying to control things beyond our power. Letting go allows us to find peace in the present moment, instead of being caught up in the past or worrying about the future. This doesn't mean we stop caring or that we give up on our dreams. It simply means we stop clinging to them in a way that causes stress and suffering. One of the most powerful ways to practice letting go is through meditation. When we sit in stillness, we can observe our thoughts without attachment. We don't try to push them away or hold on to them. We simply let them come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. This practice of observing without attachment helps us see how fleeting our emotions and thoughts really are. The more we practice this, the easier it becomes to release them when they no longer serve us. We start to understand that our emotions, like the clouds, will come and go, and that we don't have to hold on to them. Gratitude and letting go also work together in relationships. We often hold on to past grievances, expectations, or misunderstandings, which can prevent healing and growth. By practicing gratitude for the people in our lives and letting go of past hurts, we create space for deeper connection and understanding. It's not about forgetting or ignoring the pain, but about acknowledging it and choosing to move forward with an open heart. This is the essence of forgiveness in Buddhism. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harmful actions. It means releasing ourselves from the hold of resentment and anger, which only cause us suffering. When we can truly let go, we also open ourselves up to receiving more. This is a key principle in Buddhism. When we let go of attachments, we make room for new experiences, new growth, and new blessings. We stop holding on so tightly to what we have, and we trust that life will bring what we need. This trust, or faith, is an important part of healing. It allows us to embrace the present moment with gratitude, knowing that everything we need is already within us. One powerful practice to cultivate gratitude is to start a daily gratitude journal. Every day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you are thankful for. These don't have to be big things. They can be as simple as a cup of warm tea, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of nature around you. Over time, you'll start to notice how much there is to be grateful for, even on the most challenging days. This simple practice can shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, helping you see the richness of your life, no matter what is happening around you. Letting go can also mean releasing our need for perfection. We live in a world that often pressures us to be better, to achieve more, and to constantly strive for success. This can create a lot of inner tension and dissatisfaction. But when we let go of the need for perfection and embrace our imperfections, we allow ourselves to simply be. In Buddhism, there is a concept known as wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection. It reminds us that there is beauty in the broken, the unfinished, and the simple. By embracing imperfection, we can experience healing on a deeper level. Healing also comes when we let go of the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. We often define ourselves by our past mistakes, failures, or even successes. But when we release these labels, we open ourselves up to a new version of ourselves, one that is not defined by the past but shaped by the present moment. In Buddhism, there is the concept of no self, which teaches that our identity is not fixed. It is fluid, ever-changing, and interconnected with all things. By letting go of our rigid sense of self, we can experience freedom and healing. Finally, remember that gratitude and letting go are not one-time practices. They are ongoing. The more we practice them, the more natural they become. We learn to approach life with an open heart and mind, ready to embrace what comes our way with a sense of peace and acceptance. We start to see that everything, good and bad, has value and contributes to our growth. We trust that everything happens for a reason and that, through gratitude and letting go, we can heal and transform into the best version of ourselves. Healing is not about fixing what's broken. It's about letting go of what no longer serves us and making space for something better. Gratitude is the lens through which we can view our lives with more clarity, and letting go is the key that unlocks the door to peace and happiness. Through these practices, we can begin to heal, not only our bodies and minds, but also our hearts. This is the path to true freedom, and it's available to all of us, right here and right now. Conclusion: embracing the journey of natural healing. So, here we are at the end of our journey. But remember, the end of this video is not the end of your path to healing. It's just the beginning. We've explored how natural healing, inspired by Buddhist teachings, can transform the way we approach our mind, body, and spirit. The key now is to understand that healing is not a destination. It's a continuous journey, one that unfolds slowly but surely, with each step you take. We began by discussing the nature of suffering, the universal experience that connects us all. In Buddhism, we learn that suffering is not something to be feared or avoided. It's simply part of life, and through that understanding, we can find peace. Once we embrace that suffering is a part of our experience, we stop resisting it and start learning from it. Each moment of discomfort, pain, or struggle becomes an opportunity for growth. This is where healing starts, not by pushing things away, but by accepting them, acknowledging them, and allowing them to be. Mindfulness, as we saw earlier, plays a central role in this process. By being present, we can let go of the past and stop worrying about the future. Every time you pause and take a deep breath, you're connecting with the present moment. This is where the healing begins. With each mindful breath, you are cultivating a space for your body to relax and for your mind to find clarity. This practice is not about doing more. It's about doing less, about being still and open. The practice of compassion, both toward others and yourself, is another powerful tool in healing. You don't need to be perfect to be compassionate. In fact, compassion grows stronger through our imperfections. Every time you forgive yourself for a mistake, or show kindness to someone who may not deserve it, you are opening your heart. The more you practice compassion, the more you will feel connected to others and to yourself. Remember, healing is not just about physical recovery, it's also about emotional and spiritual growth. Compassion helps us rebuild our emotional well-being and release old, negative patterns. As we explored the Eightfold Path, we saw that healing is a holistic process. It's not just about meditation or mindfulness, but also about how we live our everyday lives. Every decision we make, every action we take, has the potential to bring us closer to peace. If you follow the Eightfold Path, right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, you will find that your life begins to flow more smoothly. You'll experience less conflict, less stress, and more harmony. Nature, too, plays a vital role in healing. When we reconnect with nature, we are reminded of the impermanence of life. The trees grow, the seasons change, and everything flows in harmony. Nature is constantly healing itself, and we can learn to do the same. Just as a tree grows and sheds its leaves, we, too, can shed old habits, thoughts, and emotions that no longer serve us. By spending time in nature, we reconnect with our own inner rhythm, finding peace in the simple things. Another aspect we explored was the importance of letting go. This may sound simple, but it's one of the most profound practices in Buddhist teachings. Letting go means releasing the grip of the past and embracing the freedom of the present. It's about accepting that not everything is within our control and trusting that life will unfold as it should. Letting go of resentment, anger, and fear is one of the most powerful ways to heal yourself. When you stop holding on to negative emotions, you create space for peace and joy to enter your life. Karma and intention are also powerful elements in the healing process. Your intentions shape your actions, and your actions shape your future. The more positive intentions you cultivate, whether through kindness, honesty, or generosity, the more positive energy you create in your life. Healing is not just about removing the negative, but also about cultivating the positive. By focusing on your intentions, you start to see the world through a lens of possibility and hope. Your actions, big or small, can create ripples of positive change in your life and the lives of others. Throughout this series, we've discussed how Buddhism offers a map for healing, not just for the body, but for the mind and spirit as well. But remember, healing is not a one-time event. It's a process, a journey that unfolds over time. The more you practice mindfulness, compassion, letting go, and all the other teachings we've discussed, the more natural healing will become. It won't always be easy, and you won't always see immediate results, but with patience and perseverance, healing will come. Daily practices are essential to sustaining a healing mindset. Whether it's a few minutes of meditation, a mindful walk, or a simple act of kindness, these small, daily actions add up over time. Healing doesn't happen in one grand moment. It happens in the small moments of your daily life. That's where true transformation happens. So, take the time each day to nurture your mind and spirit. The more you do this, the more you will experience peace and healing. The journey to natural healing is not something you do alone. You are supported by the wisdom of Buddhism, by the practices of mindfulness and compassion, and by the community of people who walk this path with you. Never forget that you are part of something much larger than yourself. You are part of a long tradition of people seeking peace, healing, and enlightenment. And just like them, you have the ability to heal yourself naturally. As we conclude this video, remember, this is just the beginning. The wisdom of Buddhism is vast, and there's always more to learn, more to practice, and more to discover. But you now have the tools to start. Healing is not an end goal. It's a way of life. It's a process of growth, transformation, and peace. Embrace the journey, and trust that with each step, you are moving closer to the peace and healing you seek. Thank you for joining me on this path. If you found value in these teachings, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your support helps us continue to create content that inspires and empowers. I'm honored to have shared this journey with you, and I wish you peace, healing, and joy on your path ahead.